Peace, everyone. Today is really a chill day. Um, I've been having a lot of work to do, a lot of administrative work to do, and I've just been noticing. I want to say I've been noticing some patterns coming up, um, maybe even some imbalances, and how when I when I move out of those, when I focus too much on one area, then everything else kind of sinks and flops for me. And I'm speaking in the context of, you know, of exercising, of one of my spiritual practices, right? Um, I've noticed when I don't exercise, I feel, like I mentioned in my previous video, I feel like the energy starts accumulating to the point of like stagnancy. And I feel the same way with my other spiritual practices, as as far as meditating. Um, when I don't do my psychic grounding, I find that everything else starts kind of like, and I'm speaking about this, and I'm just like continuously staying amused at both the direction that I'm going, that I'm taking, but also the the pace that I'm going in, right? Because I feel like it's not only about the direction for me, but it's also about the pace, and having a pace that it's one, not somebody else's, so I'm going at my own pace, but also that I'm not dragging my feet, because that's also been something that I've um, experienced in the past. Like, I either move too fast or I move way too slow. So I feel like this chapter, this I feel like it's always a new chapter, but this chapter in life is speaking a lot about, for me, um, to continuously create the capacity, but also be intentional about what you're creating capacity for. Excuse me. And also being intentional about what you're filling in. Like, whatever you're clearing out, right? What are you filling it in with? I think this is something that I'm always saying. Like, we have to be intentional and mindful about, doing release work, in any way in any way, right? Whether that's exercise, whether that's meditation, whether that's breath work, whether that's any other somatic practice that you might be utilizing, um, whatever rituals and ceremony. We have to be intentional about what we are filling that space back in with, because if we don't, then the patterns and cycles are just going to continue. And also, to the point of, the bodiless beings that are just wandering in the unseen realm when you're not when you're not being when you're not being intentional, right? You feel those, they sense the space that's been created, right? They see it, they see the light. um so they could make their way into your space and start, possessing and start moving and guiding you in ways that might translate as sluggish, that might translate as being uninspired, um, that might translate as being tired, right? All of these things, in my experience, and I hope that it's making sense. All of these things are ways, right, that we're not in spirit, right? Are ways that we're running other people's energies, are ways that we um we might just be, possessed. That's the word that's coming up. And I know that that word can be a little triggering, right? Because when you think of possession, you think of like ownership, someone taking ownership, right? But if you're not taking ownership of your space, then what do you think? Who do you think is taking space of your ownership, right? Who do you think is taking ownership of your space? And yeah, and just being mindful, right? Just being mindful and just staying awake to everything that's playing around. Other ways that, our space can be overthrown is, we're overconsumption of information, right? And I feel like we're in an era now that we are overconsuming information from social medias, from all social media platforms, right? We are overconsuming um, information from even the things that we're watching and the things that we're listening. And it sounds like I'm being redundant because I do feel like I speak on this a lot, but that's that's universal truth. Like like what you're consuming is not just food. Food is not the only form of consumption. Um, food, I feel like food is like the gateway to over consuming other shit. Um, because when we're, let's say, when we're emotionally eating, we start, overindulging, or um, we start overindulging and we start feeling the voids, the emptiness, or whatever it is, the gap, the space, whatever it is that you're feeling, right? The need, um, with food, even if food is not exactly what you want, even if food, even if you're not physically hungry, right? I think oftentimes we misinterpret the hunger our spirit feels to hunger of our physical being, which is two different things. And the hunger that our spirit feels, right, can come from a lack of connection, right? I want to say for the most part, it comes from a lack of connection, whether that's to yourself, whether that's to God, the creator, whether that's to nature, whether that's to um, other humans, right? It stems from a lack of connection. So we translate that lack of connection to, well, the only thing I know how to connect to is food. So let me just do food. Um, and sometimes what ends up happening is that over accumulation of unnecessary, I want to say food. Um, it's just the overconsumption of unnecessary. The overconsumption is unnecessary because we're not clear what exactly needs feeding. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. We're not clear on what exactly needs feeding. So when we're not clear on what exactly needs feeding, then we just think that it's only our physical, but then our needs are not being met, right? Sometimes we just need a hug. Sometimes we just need touch, right? And it doesn't. And I'm saying all of this not in a sexual context, right? I'm saying it. I'm saying it in the context of we are we're we're animals as well. And if you look at the animal kingdom, you know, the animals are they're very affectionate with each other, right? But they're also very like they're very um because they don't have the emotional range that we do. They just go by intuitive needs, right? So, even the way that things play out, like the female and the male, like they just go do it and be out. Like they know when they gotta get some food. They know when the when the seasons are changing, right? And I think I just went on a ramble, and it might not make sense. So, if it did,